Hello, you are listening to the Love and Money podcast with Shakira, and today I'm going to go over some multiple streams of income ideas. Number one, being a job. So that's the one we're all familiar with. Unfortunately, that is the only source of income for the vast majority of people. Vast majority of people are not taught to seek out multiple streams of income. Some get to it later on in life. To others, it's not really that important. For other people, they are seeking out the information on their own through process of self-education. So number one is a job, something we're all familiar with. Some people are taught in childhood that money comes from work. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people learn this the hard way, that money comes from work. So if you have children, it's a good idea to pass that down to your child before they have to find out the hard way that money comes from work. That would be a good lesson to pass down to your children. Number two, you can create a business. And that could be any kind of business that you're interested in. As long as it generates profit, it will be a multiple streams of income. You could create an online business, things like the boutiques that you see where you order the clothes online, the e commerce business, or several other different types of online businesses. And then there are the storefront businesses, but as you've seen with the pandemic, that those storefront businesses were pretty much wiped out, and people who did online businesses were unaffected as a result of the pandemic. So just doing research on different kinds of businesses that you can start. Businesses are all over the place, but since we're not really used to entrepreneurship, it kind of goes in one ear and out the other when we see businesses. So you can just keep your eye out. Uh, Look at the kind of things that you spend your money on yourself and see if you might be interested in starting that kind of business, whether it be a physical business or an online business. Just try to become more aware of what you yourself are spending money on. And then that will kind of give you a clue on what kind of business you may be interested in or what kind of business you may decide to start for yourself. So that is number two is creating a business as far as a multiple source of income. Um, Number three, you could have a savings account. And by savings account, I don't mean a regular savings account at a bank. I mean the online savings account that people are generally not familiar with. It's not with the bank. They are online, and what they do is they end up giving you more interest on your money as opposed to just letting it sit at the bank. So there is a way that you can search online for online savings accounts, and you can look at the ratings and decide which one that you may be interested in. That's something different that people don't usually do, but you would get more interest than just keeping your money at a regular bank. And then another multiple stream of income would be stocks. That's getting into the stock market. And by the stock market, if you have a 401k or IRA or a HSA, then you are already in the stock market. And so that money is making money for you. And so dollar cost averaging, like immediately when you get paid, some of that money goes into the stock market. And that is another source of income because that money is making money on its own just by being there in the stock market. Um, there are also things like um, trading stocks. Some people trade stocks instead of just letting it sit there. That may be something that you would be interested in. That's another source of income. And then there is property, getting into real estate. And then there are all different kinds of different types of real estate that you can get into based upon what your interests are. You could go with single family home if you do not have a large down payment right now. You could go in multi-family housing. Um, Usually, it's recommended that you start with a duplex over a single family, just because of the fact that you can house hack. You can live on one side and rent out the other side, and that tenant is paying your mortgage by doing something like that. But the only thing with that is that you're going to need a larger down payment. So that would be the limiting factor on why someone wouldn't start out with a duplex, because they don't have the down payment. And there are places that you can get the down payment. You can always borrow the money, but of course, most places are going to want you to have a job before they would even let you borrow money. They're going to want you to have a job and to be on that job for a period of at least 2 years. So that's a single family home, a multi-family homes. You could go the commercial route where you are buying things like office buildings, um, strip malls. There are the storage units that you could be buying, like going to the U-Hauls, figuring out how to buy those type of things. There are the foreclosures that you could be buying, um, so that you're buying property at a less expensive rate. There is the auctions and the tax liens, the tax deeds. There's all different kind of things that you could do as it pertains to getting into property. But that is another source of income, and that would provide stability for you. Of course, in the beginning, it's going to be a lot of work just getting the property, and then getting the property up to code, and then getting a tenant in it. But after you finish that hassle, usually it's downhill from there. If you hire a property manager, you don't have to be a landlord. So that's another source of income, is buying property. Then another source of income is capital gains. And capital gains is any profit that you see. Um, Say, for example, you buy a stock and then the value of the stock rises. Say you buy the stock for $50 and then the value of the stock rises to 100. So 100 minus 50 is the capital gains. And that's money that you're making just by buying a stock and letting that money sit there. You are earning money, and it's called capital gains. The same thing goes with property. You buy property, you're earning money through capital gains, because as the house sits there, it appreciates in value. And you're making money just because of the fact that you have the house. So, say for example, the house is worth $150,000 and you keep the house for 7 years, and the value increases by 3%. That profit is the capital gains that you're making simply by owning a house and keeping it. So, capital gains is another source of income. Then, another source of income is books or music. And so, those are considered royalties, because you'll be getting paid over and over again just because somebody buys the books or somebody listens to the music. So I'm going to be honest with you, as it pertains to books, generally, books do not make a lot of money, especially when you're first starting out. unless you have connections with influencers. If you have connections with influencers, then that is a different story. But if you are just starting out and just making it on your own, um, books are not going to make you much money at all. So, for books and music is another source of income. And then another source of income would be YouTube, creating a YouTube channel and increasing your number of views. So, the more views you have, the more money that you're going to be making. And that's how YouTube works. So, those are some multiple sources of income. So, you want to be thinking about other ways to create money besides just getting up and going to work every day. Because if you only have one source of income, then you are allowing someone else to control your life and they could easily pull the rug up under you. But if you start thinking about ways to generate money, other ways to generate money, then that is how you protect yourself. It is said that most millionaires have seven sources of income. So just keep that in mind. Think of things that you may be interested in and start creating multiple sources of income. This is the Love and Money Podcast with Shakira. If you like this podcast, please share it with one other person. And please hit the like and subscribe button on your way out. It helps the algorithm. Thank you for listening.